Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and of course this is the Baseball Hut 2, and I hope you subscribe and like this video. So we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani. Yes, Shohei Ohtani. He's always an interesting topic. He pitched last night. He lost 1-0. He got outdueled by the Dodgers in this game last night. In fact, the Angels got swept by the Dodgers. Now, the general manager for the Angels came out the other day and talked about the future of Ohtani, at least for this year, and possibly the following years after this. From MLB.com, headline, Ohtani trade unlikely. Quote, we hope he's here a long time, says Angels general manager. And it's written by, it doesn't matter who wrote it. It really doesn't. It really doesn't matter who writes these articles, quite frankly. Angels general manager Perry Minasian said Tuesday that the club doesn't intend to trade to a superstar, Shohei Ohtani, for the trade deadline because of where they are in the standings. The Angels entered the day with a 41-33 record, having won 11 of 14, and Minasian was asked if he'd consider trading Ohtani, who's in his last year of his contract, and will be a free agent after the season. Quote, I think anybody who has watched this player looked where we're at in the standings. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We like him and we hope he's here a long time. It took them 5 years to be good, by the way. This is sort of panic move. They made all the right moves. Minasian said, it's pretty self-explanatory with where we're at. Minasian was asked a follow-up question if there was any scenario in which he'd trade Ohtani, and he again dismissed the idea. Quote, it's pretty self-explanatory with where we're at. Okay, what is this guy, like a parrot? Give him a cracker. Here, Perry. Rock. Perry the parrot. Ohtani, the AL MVP in 2021 and the runner-up to Aaron Judge last year, is again having an MVP caliber season. He entered Tuesday slashing 300 with an MLB leading. He's got an OPS of 1,000, folks. 1,000. The hell's wrong with me? Incredible. With an MLB lead, 24 home runs and 50 RBIs in 72 games and 14 starts. He's gone 6-2 with a 3.49 ERA with 105 strikeouts and 82 innings. And he pitched well last night, but he got the loss. Given his value both on and off the field, the Angels never expected to deal him this season. But they now risk the chance of him signing with another club this offseason, only receiving draft pick compensation in return. Ohtani's 28 and is expected to command a record contract and free agency. I would expect that he's going to get a 10-year deal worth $500 million. He'll get $250 as a starter and $250 as a hitter. So, because he's really, if you look at it, he's really a top-notch in two different categories. He's a top 5 hitter and a top 5 pitcher in Major League Baseball. That's how great he is. But in this video, there is a contradiction. This is from yardbarker.com. Beat writer contradicts Angels GM's comments about Shohei Ohtani trade buzz. And it's written by, it doesn't matter who wrote this either. LA Angels beat writer Sam Bloom of The Athletic suggests the club could trade to a superstar, Shohei Ohtani, this summer, regardless of what general manager Perry Minasian said about the matter on Tuesday. Quote, the Angels should only keep Ohtani if they are strong in a playoff mix, or if ownership is truly committed to making him a competitive offer in free agency, Bloom wrote for a piece published Wednesday. Quote, truly willing to get in the bidding war with owners who typically spend a lot more on payroll, and truly believe they have a shot at retaining him regardless of whether they reach the postseason, end quote. Minasian declared on Tuesday that it's pretty self-explanatory with where we're at, as it pertains to keeping Ohtani through the trade deadline, as the Angels attempt to end a playoff drought that began after the 2014 season. LA entered Wednesday night at 41-4 and 34 down, 41-35, as they got beat by the Dodgers. Bloom mentioned that the Angels will face the first-place Arizona Diamondbacks and playoff contenders such as the Dodgers, the Padres, Astros, Yankees, Blue Jays, and Braves, all before the trade deadline. In short, only Artie Moreno may have second thoughts about holding on to Ohtani if it's clear before the final weekend of July that his Angels are more pretenders than championship hopefuls by then. Quote, is Moreno willing to exceed the luxury tax threshold to maintain a competitive roster with the expense of Anthony Rendon and Mike Trout earning more than $73 million combined? He has said he is, but actions will speak louder than words, and he's always operated below that threshold. I would mention that the Anthony Rendon contract, what a disaster. That was a bomb, a terrible move by the Angels. That was one of the worst moves we've ever seen. Who was the GM for that? Was that Billy Epler? Did Epler make that move? That's a terrible move, as it turned out. It was first believed as far back as this winter that Ohtani could earn up to $600 million in guaranteed money from his next MLB contract. And that was before the 28-year-old started cruising toward winning his second AL MVP in 3 years. If Moreno isn't willing to match offers made by big spending clubs such as the Dodgers and the New York Mets later this year, losing Ohtani to free agency for nothing will go down as an awful business decision unless the Angels enjoy a magical October run. The word is that he's not signing with the Angels. So what kind of value are you going to get out of Shohei Ohtani? You're never going to get any kind of value in terms of players. So just keep him, and you have a chance to get the postseason. The Angels are not far out of it. They've been a good team this year. They need more pitching on that team. Like I said, Anthony Rendon's been a black hole in that team since he got there. He's been he's been a very troubled guy this year. Obviously, early in the season, he got into a fight with an A's fan. Of all things, of all places to get into I didn't even know there were any fans there to get into a fight with. But the Angels would be crazy to move him. If they had a chance to get value for him, it would have been in the offseason. They didn't move him. They would have been better set to move him last trade deadline. They didn't do that. So they're not going to get the kind of value they would have gotten if they moved him earlier. So just hold on to him. He's great for the box office. People will go and watch him there in Anaheim. They're not a bad team now. They've actually been pretty good this year. This general manager has done a good job filling in all the sort of spare part players that they need. And their pitching is much, much better than it was when Billy Epler was the general manager there. So that general manager has a pretty good idea of how to build a team. So just ride it out. And if the guy says they're not going to trade him, take him for his word. I don't think he's getting traded. And he's not, what kind of value are you going to get? Now, there are going to be plenty of teams on him. The New York Mets, the Dodgers, the Giants are going to be after him. The Mariners are going to be interested in, and I can guarantee you that one. Jerry DiPoto, I know one thing. He must be getting he's getting a trigger finger, wanting to pull some trades on some players right now. He wants to sign this guy. The Cubs will be interested in him. The Cubs obviously want a big player. The Giants are going to want a big player. Like I said, they're desperate for a big player. Where Ohtani goes is going to have one of the biggest domino effects you've ever seen in baseball, just monetarily. They said $600 million, and I said this in the video. I expect that to be a $500 million contract. Because you're basically signing two players for the price of one person. So, you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, I'll have plenty of stuff on Shohei Ohtani before the trade deadline, going into the offseason on this channel, on the Big Baseball Hut channel. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you later.